Okay, Lee, so new season, new deal, everything seemed to be going well. What went wrong?
Everyone, like I'd been doing really well, and then Stefan was meant to play a game against Airdrie. Like it was like one of Walter Smith's first games. I remember Davey Weir was playing. It was like, I think it was their first game, so it was like a game for some of the new players. And then Stefan was meant to play, and then I think the afternoon or even at the game, I think he was poorly. He couldn't play, so then I had to play, and I was like panicking. I was like, I'm not ready for this. I'm meant to be just on the bench, and then um, and I ended up having to play. And I think I did couple of daft things. Like I'd actually remembered I wasn't well. I think there's a few of us weren't feeling great. So I played when I felt a bit weak as well, and then I did a couple of daft things. My kicking was nowhere near how it should have been, um, and then I remember after that game, the goalie coach wasn't really in a good mood with us. It didn't seem like wasn't, and he's like basically come and said, "Oh, Walter said you're nowhere near ready to play first team football for Rangers," and it was like he was totally right, of course, but I still like thought, how can after going 3 years of not really having any knockbacks or rejections, how can you just say that now? So I took it really badly. Instead, like I said, of course I wasn't. I was nowhere near. But because that maybe you start believing your own, like people speaking about you and saying this or that. So it was like just a big shock at the time, and I think that was the start of like really my confidence taking a massive like downturn.
Do you think like if it comes from the top, like Walter saying that can like change the opinion of the
No.
goalie coach and stuff like that, and then you can get treated a little bit
Oh,
differently.
like goalie coaches in general go with whatever
Mm-hmm.
the manager says, really. So like I remember when Paul Le Guen was there, the goalie coach thought like we think you were great because the manager really likes you. So, and then when when the manager says you're not for him, you do see it a lot where the goalie coach will just say, "Oh well, he's not going to back up a young kid against somebody like that." So it's just a case where it was. So of course it was hard, like, and especially when it's from somebody like that. Really, I should have said, "Yeah, he knows what he's talking about, Walter, and he'll be right." And I need to work harder. But I think I got away with it before then with doing the minimum. Like for 3 years, I was just everything was like your money goes up. Like you don't do that much and you get a new contract. You don't like do anything special and you get a new contract. It's just for showing some promise. So I just must have thought it was going to continue that way all the time. So really, it was what I needed. You need to be found out. But I think that's why like we're so passionate about lads going and playing games at first thing level, because that's where you find out about yourself. You don't find out anything from playing for under 18s or under 21s where there's no pressure, no fans, none of your own fans abusing you for making a mistake. It's like it's not real football. So I think I'd always wanted to go out on loan when I was younger there, but they always said, "Oh no, you need to cover this. We need you as number 2. We need you as this. Need you as that." And I said, I really wanted to play, and then obviously at 20, and I wasn't anywhere near ready. But when Walter Smith did say, I took it really badly and took it so personal. So it was really tough, and like I said, it was the start of really losing my confidence. Maybe it's soft, or just maybe I've been in a bubble.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
Aye.
Like,
So I remember him saying, "Oh, next year I'm gonna go out on loan." So it was but I think there was a few different teams in, and I remember him saying, "You're going, and even if you get injured, if you get this or get that, you're staying there. If you get dropped, you're staying there." And I think it's like a teacher's a lesson, really. I think he thought that I had a bad attitude, and I think spoilt. I would say like young footballers are spoilt. So I remember him saying, "You're going on loan and you're staying there no matter what happens." So I went to Morton at 21 I went to Morton at 21. I just turned 21. And it was like the biggest eye opener. It was I just wanted to go back to Rangers and be in a nice training ground and like comfortable. I wasn't prepared, and no one ever said to us, "Oh, you're going there to learn. If you make mistakes, you're there to learn." It was just like you're going, and I thought you had to be perfect every week. I thought you couldn't make a mistake at that level, or Rangers are never going to think you're good enough. Whereas really, looking back now, like you're there to make mistakes and learn, and then not make them when you come back to your club. So it was, but anyway, it was more like, I think it was, he thought I had a bad attitude. And
Did you make it obvious that you were in a bit of a huff with him, or like?
no, I didn't really, but I was there, and it was full-time club, so I was always there, and then I was meant to go back in an afternoon and do some gym stuff at Rangers sometimes, but no, it was really tough going there. Like, that's all I always say now, like, you have to get out on loan and play games, especially as an outfield player. You can come on the last 10 minutes and you can get used to it that way, but as a goalie you cannot. So have to play it at such a young, like much younger age. All these top goalies now that are playing, all of them went and played for me from 17 on loan, and it's, whereas me, I was 21. So 21, I'd won 20 minutes first team game behind us, and obviously I went there. And it was like, at the time, Morton was like, it was quite a good, well, they are a good club, and there was, they got a few thousand people there, and it was like quite hostile as well. I don't think they really like Rangers, so if you go there as a Rangers player, it's a bit more difficult as well. But, it was really, really tough. And
What was it? What was like the first thing where you thought was a bit of like an eye-opener for you?
I just made one mistake or one bad kick or something, and it was like, even might have only been a few at the time at the start, like a few just shouting. I'm like, what? You meant to be on my team? Like, you meant to be in our team?
And you never had that before?
Never ever experienced anything like it. So it was, you feel like you're supporting our team, meant to be on our side. So, but no, it was tough. And then during that season, you obviously came up to watch, and Dad would come, and I think Dad would put earphones in and stuff, because I think it is a really good way. Like, when you're getting, if your son or your brother, whatever, is getting abused by their own fans, I think it is a good way. But now it's just like people really cared. They'd like, I went there, I was basically going there just to get games so I could go back to Rangers. Whereas these fans, it's like a lot of the fans, it's their life, the club. And if you look as though you're not trying, or if you look as though you think you're better than their level, or if you think if you make a few mistakes, they're going to be on it you straight away, and it's horrible. Makes you, it's the worst feeling, really. But I hadn't been used to it. If I'd been at 17, 18, if I'd went and played at a low level, I would have been used to it a little bit, and then the next year a little bit more. But I went there straight to, so really at 21, even though I was 21 and the Scottish Championship was probably the level I should have been at, really I probably should have went lower, because of, I was totally new to it. I was like a baby in terms of
experience.
playing football.
Aye.
Did your first game go well then? Like, how did that go?
Won, but I remember I was crap. I made a really good save early on. And
I'm sure we were just coming through, like, you come up on a bit of a higher thing at the stadium, and I just remember like top hander, like.
No, I think it was one of those where you see it early, and it was
just like got a
great
good
start.
response. Aye.
But then that was, I think that in that game after that I was crap. So like, first thing you want when you go to a new club, you want to have a good game to start, and obviously we won, but it was like we just won. And I wasn't great, so it was. And then I think it's because I'd had that knock of confidence, like the 6 months prior to it. I must have been quite fragile in that, and going into a club like that, where it's probably the most hostile club outside of the Premier League in Scotland, and really like nice ground. It's a good ground to play at, like good atmosphere, but it was tough, really, really hard.
It's such a shame, because if he went out on loan like the year earlier, on top of the world, like feeling better than everyone at Rangers, and then going there, and if they've worded it the right way, you could have went there thinking, God, I'm better than everyone at Rangers. I'm definitely better than everyone, and you could have just been flying straight away, but getting all that experience and playing amongst that, and then you go back better. But because you've went at the start of this season on a low from,
and again, I might have continued on being at that. So you need something, don't you, really, to give you shake, really, and it's about how you react from it. But I had this knock, but I didn't react in the right way neither. So it was like, really, it should have made us. But whereas before I was obviously fragile and just getting by. So if I went, it's a lot easier. Anybody can play at a team when they've got loads of confidence. But when things aren't going well, that's when you've got to really stand up. So I think anyone can play well when things are going well, can't they?
No, like I like that quote I found a while ago, when it's like how bad of an athlete do you have to be to feel good to play well. Like you should have that much belief in you, thinking that you can play well when you're not feeling great.
Oh no, exactly.
Because like you say, like anyone full of confidence can go and play, can't they? But it's that times when you're not full of confidence where you've still got to be able to show how good you are, really.
How many people do you see, even at the top level, like even you see it at the top level, like players getting ridiculous money in that and playing in such big clubs, like how many players do you hear them like, oh, he's a confidence player? So many of them have a bad couple of games and the goals, like they can't forget how to play football, whether it's footballers or goalies. So I think obviously the lower down the level you get, but it's and like I said, anybody can play well when things are going well, and when you're doing well, it's obviously easy to maintain it, innit? But
how do you find it with the lads in at Morton? Like going, especially from you coming from a team like Rangers, going there on loan. Were you the only loan player at the time, or did they have anyone else from?
I think so. I think it's just me. Then we brought in a lad, Michael Gardine from Celtic.
Good money.
But it was class.
But going in there as the only loan player.
Oh, the lads were great. They were canny, and it was like they say, it was the funniest place you could ever be. Like it was mad, totally different from what I was used to, and loads of characters there, and it was like even though I found it so tough the year, it was like funny as well because the characters that were there. But I think what done is there as well as I broke my finger in a game, my little finger, I did something to my little finger, and then obviously I was going to be out for 6 weeks, and I remember the manager messaging the goalie coach at Rangers and saying, I was going to drop him. So I took that really personal. I took it really bad. He was probably right to drop us because I wasn't playing well.
What was it like? What were you, when you look back? What were you making loads of mistakes, or were you not playing the way you should?
I was probably like. I remember Dad saying before, like he thought he'd watch a game and it looked as though it was somebody else playing in goal than me. And obviously that's what I'd imagine, like that, like play. Then what you do is you try to chase it and try to go and get confidence by trying to go and do something out of the ordinary, and then that doesn't go well, and then the manager loses confidence, the players do, the fans do. So like a really vicious circle. But I just remember I was just nowhere near. Things weren't coming off. I'd get punished for making a mistake. And then when you get the manager telling the goalie coach at Rangers that I was going to get pulled out, it was like, I took it so personal. So I was out then, and then I didn't get back in till the new manager came in. And then, but like you said, we spoke about before, the manager came in. We end up staying up on the last day of the season, and he said that I played a massive part in it. So of course it was a year that was one of the worst years I've ever had playing football, but obviously we finished in a good way, and I showed that I had a little bit about us to be able to come back in the most pressure games and help keep us in the league. So and they were desperate to sign us back the next season, so it was obviously that was a good sign as well, and says a lot.
Did you feel better like when you came back at the team, or were you just playing like solely off ability type of thing?
I don't know. I think I might have. I don't know if I had a different attitude or what, but I think it was only like 6 games or something till the end of the season. So I just 6-7 games, and I don't know. But I remember playing one game. It was horrendous weather, and I was at fault for a goal, and we drew 1-1. And I just thought I'm going to get absolutely battered off these fans now, like because of they'd already weren't the biggest fans of me, and had cost us in a game 1-1, an important game. But like I say, I'd end up turning it around and finish the season off really well. I had a few clean sheets, and we ended up staying up, like I said, in the last day, and it was a brilliant feeling. Then I remember, So it was a great way to finish.
How did you get back in the team?
I don't know, I just think the other lad, David, I think the new manager came in, and I think, you know what it's like if a team's losing, it's easy for the manager to say, oh, I'll change the goalie, because the goalie's nothing to do with the manager. So I think it might have been one of them. I can't remember him playing bad, but he put me in and it ended up working, and we did well at the end of the season. So
how did you feel going back to Rangers then after that year?
I still just felt like I'd put myself back, really. And really, I should have thought, if we spoke to a young goalie now, I'd say, oh, that was a brilliant season for you. You had ups, downs, you finished well, you learnt a lot, everything. Go through the whole thing and speak about it. But for me, it's just like, I thought I'd done damage by being crap most of the time.
Wow, like exposing yourself as if like you're like shown.
I just
you're
thought
not as good as what people think.
Oh God, I wasn't great at Morton. How could you ever come back even play? So I went back at a pre-season where I just didn't want to be there, and then it was about going on loan. That season I wanted to go to Morton again, who I was at, but the goalie coach at Rangers, his son was there, so he tried to make it as difficult as he could, so I couldn't end up going back to Morton on loan, because it might have been good to continue what I'd done at the end of that season. So I did actually want to go. I chose them over another couple of teams, but then I wasn't allowed to go for political reasons.
Conflict.
Aye.
Interest.
Would you know, like looking back now though, saying to a young lad, obviously, would you say it would be easier and more comfortable to go back to say for you, say if you advising yourself and you've got an option to go to Morton because you know the club, you know the
club.
It's comfortable going back there, or go to another team where again you're getting that sort of fresh experience.
I know. I just thought at the time it would have been good, or maybe I just wanted. Well, I don't know. I think it was just because I'd finished the season off there and I knew them, so it made sense. And maybe it's what I needed, a bit of stability, even going out on loan as well. So
I know, because it works both ways in terms of especially when you're so new. It's such a new experience for you. It's go where you're comfortable, but if that means you're gonna be able to play a little bit more positively and stuff, and play your way more, it is a good option. But then again, like you say, it's the variety of experiences just build you as a person, don't they? The more experiences you get. What other teams were there like that you could have?
It was Queen of the South, who I ended up going to. So I had Queen of the South the first time, but then I chose Morton because it was closer, and then the next time, obviously, Morton because I'd been there the year before. Obviously, I ended up not being able to go out on loan because they stopped it because I wouldn't go to another club, and ended up getting a loan at St Johnstone. I went there and they said I was going to play, but there was nothing wrong with the first team goalie coach, so I think it was one of them just to get us out for a month. And then even then you go there, and I did well, being the backup, which I hated, but I was there and I trained every day and with a good attitude. But then the manager says, I remember Derek McKinnon says, oh, do you want to stay for another month? And I said, well, I'd love to because I like it being here, but I can't, because I need to try to play games somehow. So I need to go back to Rangers and get a loan move. And then from then, never spoke to us again for the last few days, and slaughtered us to everybody after that. So it's tough. He wanted us to stay. I'd had a good attitude when I was there, and then he absolutely battered us to everyone. So now, anyway, I went back to Rangers, and I remember I was in the squad. I think I was the third goalie for a game, and even then there was thing at half time where it was penalties where it's fans shooting. I remember Jim Stewart, the goalie coach, made it so I had to do it. And I was doing everything. I was so embarrassed. I was like, I can't be doing it. Even though I was only 21, I was like, I can't be getting involved in this. People I know come to watch the games. And you're going under half time, you got these drunk people dribbling, trying to score past you with your Rangers strip on. It was, but did everything to try to get out of it. But I think it was more of a one we'll show you who's in charge and that. So it's not what I needed when I had my confidence ruined. I couldn't get a loan move that I wanted to get. So it was things like that. That's what happens in football. You hear some terrible stories, but when they don't want you there, and if you ruffle any feathers, then you can pay for it really. So it's just really embarrassing. And then obviously I had that loan spell, and then it wasn't until the January that I went out on loan again, to Queen of the South, who I ended up having a few spells with. And it was good. I played like 25 games or something, and I did really well. And it's another good example for anyone. Like, they were desperate signers. They were going to put a big part of the budget into signing me for next year, and then bring in another goalie just like part time or something. I think it was DC, my mate now. They wanted me to play and then him to come in. And then last 2 games I was crap, even though we did well. And the last 2 games I was crap. The totally changed, and so it was a case where like they didn't want to put that time and effort in. So it was I ended up leaving there, and then just wanted to. Then I left Queen of the South. I went back to Rangers for the last week of the season, and they were saying about giving us a new contract, but they had to get rid of, I think, the third choice goalie at the time. They were saying they wanted to get rid of him. And anyway, I went in on the very last day of my 6 years at Rangers, and Walter Smith spoke to me and says, we couldn't get rid of the guy we wanted to, so it's now out for you. So it was really tough, but obviously he'd made that opinion on like what he'd saw us over the last few years and that, and I get it really, but I said to him, I've got a mortgage to pay and everything out. And he says, have you been paying it the last couple of years? So it was like really a lesson, like this is how ruthless football is. So made us not really felt like I was wanting to pack in playing then.
How old were you then?
Just turned 23.
Still like a kid.
Aye, baby.
Especially like out as a goalie.
And I didn't understand all what I'd been through was quite valuable. I just thought it was just really bad that I'd been through it. Instead of us, like for us now as mentors and people who guide the young goalies, you will like be able to give them so much, like take everything from this. You like everything that I'd been through, all the mistakes, all the knockbacks and everything. But I was just felt like just defeated really. And I remember that summer, I was just hoping that nobody wanted us to go to them. Hoping no clubs, and then it was Kilmarnock, who my old goalie coach Billy Thompson, he went there and he asked us to go, and I was trying to do everything not to go. I was just like hoping I didn't have to. Anyway, I ended up going on the wrong grounds really, and it was I knew from when I first went that it was the wrong thing, but I felt as though I just had to do it.
Is that like because of like money wise, and you just had to get a job, or
no?
Or just
well, you do, don't you? Really, I remember having a mortgage at that age. Straight away, you're a kid who has to earn a living to pay the mortgage. So I think it might have been it was probably a case of that. It was a little bit less money than I was getting before Rangers, but then it was one of those where it was a really good club to go to at the wrong time. So like. Brilliant place to go, and if I could have went there with the right attitude and played, it would have been a brilliant place to be. But it was not in the mindset that I was in, and without any real guidance or help really. So it's I was in an amazing position. Even though looking back now, you think I've just left a really good club, but then got this opportunity to go to a Scottish Premier League team. It's a brilliant opportunity, only with the right mind going into it though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So what did you go there on the basis of like to be number one or
to
be number one?
I was like competing really, but I ended up was nowhere near really competing at the end of it.
Who was there at the time? Who was the number one?
Cammy was there, but then it was Alan Combe was there. He was the number one goalie there. But it's a really good club. I had a lot going for it, but just bad timing for me.
At Kilmarnock, you said like you didn't get off to the best start, so you just found yourself as number 2 that season.
Yeah, number 2 a lot of the time, and then even not in the squad sometimes.
Oh, really?
Aye. So it was. I remember like going there, and I think the reason why it was like pre-season, we had a game against Swansea, and I played the second half of the game, and I wasn't great. Again.
Did you still think you were better than everyone?
I think I lost. Then I started to lose confidence. I maybe thought like, was it that imposter syndrome?
You just feel like you're not good enough to be there.
Aye.
That was like you were feeling like that before you signed for Kilmarnock.
as soon as I went, really, I was like, oh, this is, even though I knew ability-wise, I was much better, but like, you start to think this isn't for me. And even like you had the assistant manager at the time, but like I love spin the ball out and it stops dead, and you're almost like ready to kick the ball while it's still spinning, but it's like all about time, and even that, it's like a really good skill to have. And because they didn't like us, the manager and assistant, or especially the assistant, is like hated that I did that. So it's like something that's actually a really good thing to do. I hate when he does that. He used to go mad at the goalie coach about, never to me, but he would hit to the goalie coach. So, but so just little things like that. And then so I was on the bench, or like the third goalie, and then I remember in the March, Cammy got injured after about 5-6 minutes of a game against Hibs away, and I ended up playing. So I was again like, I wasn't ready for that. I was a million miles away from being mentally ready to play after like I'd been treated like I hadn't been treated great, and you just felt as though like you shouldn't be there. But then I ended up playing, and I played against Hibs, and I think got beat 1-0, but I got man of the match, and I played a really good game. I saved the penner, and everything was great in the game. I had a really good game. So, but even that, you think that could be something that kickstarted. The next game was against Rangers at home, and I thought, be amazing. I felt like I was really excited to play for the first time in a long time, for years really. But then the goalie made a recovery and ended up playing, so that obviously sickened us a bit. And then, so it was like, I think. Then it was, I played the season that I'd been on the bench, and again, third choice. And again, another thing that make you not really want to play again. During that season, though, I spoke to Marta about before, like, I trained outfield a couple of times, and I did really well, and all the lads thought I could play. I played right back, and I was doing really well.
I remember coming to watch, because we used to love going up there. And you were training at Rugby Park, weren't you? I remember just like in the corner of the gates, just trying to like peer through, just seeing leaders overlap.
I was flying then. I was inside and everything. It was, but I think I loved it. Like that's why I was thinking with the goal. I love playing outfield, but like with the goalie training that I had, I think if I'd played outfield in training all the way through my career and played in goal on a Saturday, I think it would have been much better, and I think I would have loved playing in goal more. I think the goalie training actually made us worse throughout my career.
Because it wasn't
bad habits.
You were missing out on like working on situations. You were just doing the
same thing, getting worse at catching volleys and getting worse habits and things. So, but no, that would have been a great mix for me. But anyway, I had the year there, and then at the end of it, there was. Well, I think that the manager Jimmy Calderwood, he did want us to stay, but I'm sure he left at the end of that season. So it was. It might have been good to get another year with him there, but he left, so there was no chance of staying after that.
How did that go, like, in terms of like when you find out you're not signing there?
I can't remember if anyone even told us, to be honest.
Still waiting for the call?
I know. don't remember getting told, so
it was mad. And imagine like any other water life, any other job, like it can't happen. Like you can't treat people like the way that people are treating football.
No notice or anything. It's just like, right. I don't remember anyone ever saying to us, but I expected not to be there. Like when I knew the new Jimmy Calderwood wasn't going to be there, I knew that I was going to leave. So I didn't expect them to fight to keep us like the coach and the other coaches. So it was that was fine. In football, you just take it as normal. People treating you like that, really.
When did you find out that you weren't going to be? I
basically found out like Jimmy Calderwood said he wanted us to sign. But it was a decision from him, so obviously not from the goalie coach and the other staff. So when I knew that he was leaving, I wasn't expecting to stay there. Again, it might have been one where it might have been good to have another year there, but again, it didn't happen. But so again, it's like one of those where you don't really want to play, and you're like sometimes you're hoping something doesn't come up, so you don't have to say no to someone.
Was there much waiting around after that? Like,